Hello and welcome to another tutorial here, but in this one we're going to be looking at your step one of your project. So the first thing that I would like you to do is, after I've asked you to collect some basic information about the project that you're going to be working on, what I would like you to do is to first of all establish your project folder structure. Here's an example that I would like to share with you. Then I right-clicked here and created a new folder. Now you don't have to do it on the desktop. You can create your folder wherever you want to do it, but this is basically the folder structure example that I'm sharing with you. So this is your web concepts project. So here's a folder. So I'm double-clicking on this folder. Okay. So as I double-click on this folder, I'm going to now create the folder structure right where here. So I'm creating a folder where I'm going to be storing my images. I'm creating a folder where I'm going to be storing my CSS. Now, since I've introduced the cascading style sheets to you, so that's why I was kind of waiting for this particular week to introduce the folder structure to you. And here are my pages. So I'm going to be putting my HTML pages here. I'm going to be putting my CSS files here for my external CSS, and this is where I'm going to be putting any images that I may have. So this is the first thing that we got to do for this project. The second thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be storing our HTML pages in the pages folder, and we're going to be storing our CSS, external CSS files in the CSS folder, and then we're going to be linking the folders together using a relative path, not an absolute path. So what is the main difference? The absolute path is where you have to tell the starting point all the way through the current location. For example, if your file is stored in a folder from your root drive, which is a C drive, so your absolute path will going to be C:/my document/my project/pages. On the contrary, if you're talking about the relative path pretty much starts from where you are currently residing. So if you are in the pages folder and you want to go to the CSS folder, that means you got to go one step up, which is to the web concepts project. Then you got to then go one step down. So you would start from your current location and you move up a step or two or three, and then you start coming down to your destination step. So that's basically what the relative path is. So we always use relative path in developing websites. The reason is if we were to deploy this over a web server, the web server does not really have the same absolute path structure that you have on your computer. So that is why we prefer to use the relative path. So here I have in the Notepad++ a skeleton of the code. You're familiar with this code skeleton. And in this code skeleton, if you notice, I did not even save it as an HTML file. Let me first do that real quick. So I'm going to click File, Save As. Let me go to that location. I must go under Web Concepts Project, under Pages. I'll choose Hypertext Markup Language as our file, and let me call this one home.htm. So this is my home page. So here it says in the title Home. Right now I don't have any style sheet in place, but I just wrote this template tag. And this is bare basics. I have nothing on this page whatsoever. Okay. Now let me save the same page as about.htm. If you can see, it's going in the same folder. Then I'm going to save about as contact us.htm. So 3 pages that I have created right within the folder. So let me first change for contact us, and then let me open the about, and let me change this to for about. Okay, so right now I have all 3 of my files open, as you can see in the tab Home, About, and Contact Us. So all 3 of them are open. So let me make some more changes here. So this is my About page, and this is my Contact Us page. So after making these brief changes, let me open another new file here and save it as my cascading style sheet file. So I will going to first of all go one folder up, one level up, and I'm going to go under CSS, and I'm going to choose cascading style sheet as my file extension. and now I'm going to give it a name. I'm calling this one styles.css. Now, in the earlier set of tutorials, when everything was in the one folder, we used to write styles.css, and that was more than enough, styles.css, because they could see each other as they were in the same folder. Okay, so now let's say if I run this page the way it is right now, and you're going to notice that it simply displays home page in green color, and the reason it does that because I have set here color green, text align center. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, let me get rid of this property, all these properties out of here. We're going to use all of these properties right from one central location so that we don't have to repeat ourselves. So I'm going to get rid of this in each one of the 3 pages, just so that they all will now going to be without any CSS styles. And I'm going to, so this is my page after I update it. So this is very simple home page. Then let me show you the about page so that you can see. Okay, this is the about page, and let me show you the contact us page, and this is the contact us page. As you can see, in all 3 pages there is no styles on the heading. So let me go to the styles.css, and let's give this one heading style. So I'm writing a rule here, CSS style rule. I'm saying, okay, the color of the heading must be green, and the alignment of the text should be center. Now notice that I've simply used the name of the style sheet. I have not mapped it the way it should be mapped. So you can see that if I refresh, notice my styles.css is saved. As I refresh, there is no effect because they can't see each other. They clearly cannot see each other. So now let's go to one of the pages, let's say to contact us, because it's going to be the same syntax. Let me put this as styles.css. So now let me refresh again. Here you can see no effect whatsoever. So now we will going to use the relative path to go from pages to the CSS. Once again, if you notice, they're both at the same level, under the same parent. Currently, I am in the pages. So what we do is, we put .. /. What does that mean? I want to go one level up from pages. So currently, if I'm in the pages, I want to go one level up. So one level up will going to be here, okay, which is Web Concepts Project. Now I want to go under CSS. So I'll say, okay, now go to the CSS folder. And in that folder, you'll be able to locate a file called styles.css. So that's how you go about putting the link through the through the relative path. So now let's come back to our page, which is the contact us page, and let's try to refresh the page. And now you can see that the CSS properties that I wrote, color green, and then we wrote the property of text align center, they're both in effect. Now let's come here and say, okay, I want my letter spacing to be 10 pixels, okay, 15 pixels. Let me change it to 10 because that's what I said, 10 pixels. And let's refresh after this one change, okay? So here we go. Okay, now as you could clearly see, I made a mistake by missing the semicolon on the line above. And this, sometimes what happens is when you apply CSS properties, you can't see their output. So always make sure you go back and check to see if you might not have missed anything. So this is also one of the important things in CSS when you're writing CSS and you don't see the effect of it. First of all, check to see if there is no inline CSS which is overriding, or embedded CSS which is overriding the external. And then also check to see that your external is error-free, because it doesn't show you by underlining it with some kind of a red color or something like that that there's an error. So you can do this quick check to see, if you're not missing anything in the syntax. So this is my contact us.html. Now let me go to my about. So this is how the about page is without CSS. So there's no link. Now let me go to the about page and I'll apply the same logic. So let me just copy this. Let me go to the about page and I'll apply this. and I'm going to do the same in my home.css and the home.html. I'm going to do the same thing. So now I have the same pattern in my contact us, in my about page, and in my home. All three of them are linked to the same style sheet through the same relative path. So now let me refresh my about page. Now, as you can see the difference. And let me go one step back to my home page, and here's the home page, which also has the same effect in place. So one of the beauties of external CSS is if I want to make any changes, I can just do it right from here. So if the changes are taking place in my page such that the changing of the text color to blue instead of green, I now need to make change in one place. And as I make change in one place, notice it makes changes everywhere. So if I now go to about, it's also blue. If I now go to contact us, that's also blue. So that's one of the beauties of external CSS. So what I would like you to do for this week is pretty much go about building your structure for your folders, and then put your pages, 4 or 5 pages, however many you have in your website, in the respective pages folder, and probably create one, or if you have more CSS files, in the CSS folder, and link the CSS files with your HTML files, because as we progress through the course, you're going to be adding more properties to the CSS file to control the way your HTML pages will going to show. So that's one aspect that I would like you to work on this week. The other thing I would like you to do is start filling in some information in each one of your pages. So those are the two things that I would like you to be working on this week in terms of your project. So hope you would have enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.